Hello, hello. Jordan Chariton here. That was Bernie Sanders' kickoff rally. I think he spoke for a good 45 minutes. You see people clearing out of the cold here. To be honest with you, my feet are officially frostbitten. I hope I could get feeling back in both of them when I go home. Let me tell you something. Not as a journalist, but as just a person, I was really moved. The people you see here, I saw things like this. I saw these kind of scenes on the 2016 campaign trail. But I don't know, something seems a little different. Something seems a little bit different this time, almost like unfinished business. And before Bernie went on stage, I spoke with his supporters online here, and you really get that feeling from them. A lot of people I spoke with said, you know, this is unfinished business. We're here to finish the job we started in 2016, and they're ready to go. There's no fatigue, just kind of excitement, rejuvenation, and frankly, frustration that this wasn't the candidate to face Donald Trump in 2016. When you have 1 million people sign up as volunteers after a week, sorry if the camera's shaking a bit. People are walking, you know, on and off the stage. He's definitely one of the front runners, and I think the enthusiasm you see, frankly, for Bernie Sanders, you are not going to see this kind of enthusiasm, frankly, for Cory Booker, for Kirsten Gillibrand, for Amy Klobuchar. Frankly, I don't think you're going to see it for Vice President Joe Biden if he gets in the race. Obviously, there's been talk of a Beto O'Rourke jumping in. You know, Beto O'Rourke ran a good campaign against Ted Cruz. He had a lot of enthusiasm, frankly, because he was running against Ted Cruz. I don't think you're going to see this kind of enthusiasm even for Beto O'Rourke because, you know, there's something to be said for being the original. And Bernie Sanders is the original. He's been saying the same thing for many, many years. And I think this time also what's different about Bernie and his campaign, it's very organized. Bernie Sanders' campaign in 2016 launched really with like 3 or 4 people. He announced his campaign like outside the Senate in like an impromptu press conference. He didn't really have a lot of staff. He didn't have a lot of volunteers to start. I mean, he's starting out of the gate with an infrastructure, a huge email list, a huge base of small dollar donors, and organizers and volunteers in every state. And that's critical because Bernie Sanders is trying to compete in red states. He is trying to compete in every state. And that's why it was important what he said. This isn't blue states, red states. This is working people, because there's working people down in Mississippi. There's working people down in Arkansas, down in South Carolina, all across the country. So obviously his message was very similar to what you've already heard. But I think weaving in the personal stories is important. And I think you're going to hear more of the personal story tomorrow in Chicago. He's going to talk about marching for civil rights. He's probably going to talk about getting arrested, protesting for civil rights. And he didn't talk about that on the 2016 campaign trail. And I think it's, as Sean King pointed out, he didn't want to make it seem like he was using that or exploiting that to prop up his campaign. But I think there's a fine line, and it's good. It's good to share why you were passionate. Why were you so passionate then? Why were you fighting so hard then? People should know that because, frankly, Joe Biden, if he gets in, not only wasn't doing that, but Joe Biden was for segregated classrooms. Joe Biden was for segregation as far as busing and those kinds of practices. Ty, I don't know if Ty was as enthusiastic as I was. What do you think of this?
I thought it was good.
Oh, right. He's freezing. So hold on. Let's get Ty in here. By the way, it's Ty's birthday. So say happy birthday to my brother man here, 58 years young.
Yeah, whatever. I thought it was good. I was enthusiastic. The only thing I wasn't was, you know, when there's a certain nostalgia, connected to your enthusiasm, it's a completely different feel. You get lost in that feeling, and that's where you were. And I completely understand. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot more platitudes than I would have liked. I would have liked him to be a little more personal. I also wanted him to tell the story of his father from his heart, not reading on the script. I mean, that's just how I felt about it. I'm like, you know, when you just come from the memory, it just comes off more genuine. I'm not saying that he's not genuine. Obviously, he is. But you know, people are looking for different things now, and I'm just thinking about that, like him, you know, the stories, and I wish he would have connected stories with the policies. When he was talking about it was just kind of like a list of the things that he wanted to do for about 30 minutes, and then he got into a story. I hope he connects it to more personal stories, his own people. I mean, he's campaigned 3 years ago. He's campaigning again. He spoke to a lot of people in America. Now, he has a lot of stories to tell, and he connected with a lot of people. Just connect those to the policies and understand how, and you know, connecting personal stories around the country to policies allows people to connect to you. But I thought it was good. I thought it was great. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was like, I felt the energy.
One thing I'll say, and this isn't, I get your point, but I also think part of why he needed notes, and I'm not making excuses, but I do, because I covered about 30 or 40 of his rallies. It is so not natural to him to talk about himself or to share anything about his family, because it's almost like it pains him to do that. And I know in 2016, his advisors told him, Bernie, talk about yourself, share more personal stories. But it's so foreign for him, like when he's railing off about Medicare for all and that, he don't need to read any notes. That's just, so I think it's hard for him. And you're right, it could look a little scripted, but I also think, listen, it's a new campaign. He'll have to get more comfortable with that. I think as he gets more comfortable, I think as he gets more comfortable with that, he'll be able to, do it a little bit more from the heart rather than reading off his notes. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.